Hey there, thanks for tuning in. Great Basin Prospecting here, your one-stop shop for non-stop rocks. Here's the rocks that we'll be checking out this week. We've got 7 really cool ones, all coming from Nevada. Welcome back to all the current subscribers. Let me know your thoughts and your favorites down in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, welcome as well, and hopefully you'll be a subscriber by the end of the video. Let's go ahead and get started. First up, let's check out this rock. So from the outside, you can see we've got some really cool patterns and colors going on. We have beautiful Wonderstone banding with the pink and the white and the red. And then we can also see some really dark veins, which are very dramatic because they're very large, especially compared to what we normally see in the area, which are a lot thinner veins. These ones are very thick. And on the inside, wow, this one is really nice. Look at those veins and how they carry through. And then as we look at the individual halves here, the rainbow Wonderstone bands are just beautiful towards the left-hand side of the rock. And then we can even see a little bit of a Wonderstone eye there towards the top right amidst the Lahontan Jasper zone of the rock. And here's a look at the other half, and just as stunning. And this is a pretty big rock as well, so there's a lot of material here, but I just love the Wonderstone bands mixed with the Lahontan Jasper on the inside and how deep red those veins are and how much of the color comes through. Just really beautiful. Okay, next up, let's check out this rock. So from the outside, we can see there's a lot of green color going on, as well as some yellow, which may be some iron staining, and maybe even light blue in some parts. And then there's some dark purple veins that are running through, which may actually be red iron staining as well. But this one just had a lot going on that looked pretty cool in terms of the colors and the patterns. So let's go ahead and take a look at the inside. And wow, that is really beautiful. Look at the gradients of green that we've got going on here, from quite a deep green in the very center in that little area to very light where we're going into whites and other parts of the rocks. And let's take a look at the individual halves here. And you can see the banding a little bit better, as well as some interesting white looking crystalline structures that are going on in the rock too. Maybe some breccia in the flow, or maybe just a different type of material slightly there. But really pretty bands and swirls here and a nice range of colors. Okay, next up is one of the rocks that came from Gemfield, Nevada, which is kind of in the middle between Reno and Las Vegas. And as you can see, we've got some beautiful patterns here with the reds and the whites that are showing through. And if you want to check out some more of this, I have a video where we go rockhounding there and review the material, but this is just a really cool one. I was excited to finally cut some of the material from that trip. Let's take a look at the inside, and how cool is that? Wow, that is so gorgeous. So we have 2 nice bullseyes, which kind of look like eyes there, and then we have another white streak running underneath them, which has been filled in about halfway through with a really bright red color. And then towards the bottom of the rock, we have another area that's kind of a streak of reds and whites. It looks almost like a bird head there at the left with a super long beak sticking out. Oh, maybe kind of like a hummingbird here on this one on the right-hand side. But anyway, let me know what you see in this one. But this material is just beautiful, and it looks even better on the inside than it did on the outside. Okay, next up we've got our second rock from Gemfield, and we can see we've got some different colors going on here, some reds and some yellows, as well as some whites, maybe even getting into some lavenders there at what I thought was white. But let's go ahead and take a look at the inside of this one, and that is so nice. Wow. So it is almost a white lavender that we have going on in some spots, and then the red and yellow swirls are just gorgeous that are going on around the perimeter. Just beautiful. And then throughout we have kind of speckles of what looks like dark black, but it might actually be a slightly different color. I'm not sure. It might be very dark red. And then there's also some small cavities, especially towards the left-hand side there and towards the top that we can see. But most of the material is pretty solid, and I love the patterns and the colors in this. really pretty and really cool. Excited to check out more of the Gemfield stuff in the future. Okay, let's check out this rock. So from the outside, we can see we've got some brown, yellow, and then we have some interesting pattern that's kind of showing through there. And then some heavy desert patina going on these sides that we can see. And then some more of that kind of cool pattern going through here. So I wasn't exactly sure. Let's go ahead and take a look at the inside, and that is pretty cool. So if it looks like it's out of focus, that's just kind of what the pattern looks like going on there in the purplish brown and white. And then we have a few small lakes of red, and then we have a little bit of yellow iron staining that has creeped in on the perimeter, but not very much. This is kind of an interesting pattern, and just judging from what we saw on the outside of the rock, I bet each slice that I cut would be a bit different. This is kind of an interesting one though. Okay, let's check out this rock. So from the outside, this one was interesting because it looked like it was mostly a crystal material, but we also had some darker areas. I wasn't sure if those were different rocks or a different material or what was going on there, but it looked interesting, and I don't find too many things that are crystal or agate. So let's go ahead and take a look at the inside. And that is much cooler than I thought it was going to be. Wow. So those dark spots may actually be other rocks or part of the original host material that was infiltrated by the white crystal agate material we have here, and they are all that remains. But that's just speculation, not totally sure. But I do like the contrast, and there's some pattern and detail going on in the crystal agate material as well, which is kind of cool. It's mostly pretty chaotic though, not quite as uniform in the banding as some of the others that we found, but still a really, really pretty one. And last but certainly not least, we've got this cool little guy. So this one was interesting not only because of the light coloration and the light banding that we can see on the exterior, but also the top of the rock looks like there was a different type of mineral or maybe a crystal that was present on top there that has since weathered out. Probably a different type of mineral. Not totally sure, but that's what it looks like, which is interesting. I don't find a lot that look like that. And on the inside, that is pretty cool. So we actually have a bit of a range of color going on in the banding that we see, and the banding is a bit broken as well. So this is probably actually a breccia, and when we take a little bit of a closer look, we can see some nice red and yellow banding with even a bit of green in there, and then kind of a shift in the coloration there to the right and below as we go into whites and grays with some interesting definition going on in the white there. It almost looks like an inclusion of some sort, but I don't think that it is because it also kind of looks like bands. But that's it for this week. Thanks so much for checking these rocks out. Please let me know your favorites down in the comments and any thoughts that you have, and give the video a like. And if you're new to the channel and you made it this far, please make sure to subscribe, and I will see you all next time.